Part 1.
You will hear a conversation between two men as they plan a trip to New York City. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Listen carefully to the conversation and answer questions 1 to 5.
Hi, Max.
Hi, John. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks, Max. So, have you come to discuss our trip to New York?
That's right. Is now good for you?
Oh, yes. Just let me get a pen and some paper for some notes. Here we are. Now, we're going from 24th August to 7th of September, aren't we?
Almost. It's the 24th to the 6th.
Oh, yes, that's right. I'd better get that correct.
So we're flying out of London, Heathrow, at 5 p.m. on the 24th, and we land in New York at around 7:30 p.m.
Which airport do we fly into? JFK, Newark, or LaGuardia?
JFK, and then we'll just get a cab to our hotel in town.
Wouldn't it be cheaper to get the subway or the bus into the city?
Well, yes, it would, but we'll be tired, and a cab will take us straight to the hotel. I'll do what you want to do, though.
It's just that airport taxis are so expensive, and the bus will take us into the Grand Central area anyway, which is where our shortlisted hotels are.
OK, I'm happy with the bus then.
Thanks. Now for the hotels. You didn't make a booking yet, did you?
No, I wanted to agree the choice with you first.
What are the choices again then?
Well, there's the Grand Hotel. For our time in New York, it will cost us $700 each. That includes taxes and breakfast and a single room each. It's not as convenient a location as the others, though. The Garden Hotel is right next to where the bus will come in, which is convenient, and it's cheaper, though that's also because they had no singles left, and we've only the possibility of a twin room. It's $600 each with taxes, but it doesn't include breakfast.
And the last one?
It's the cheapest at $580 each with taxes and breakfast. It's the Central Motel, but it's not such a nice place, and again, they only have twins available. What do you think?
Well, I think the key factor for me is having my own room. I'd pay the extra for that.
Yes, I agree. In fact, the money that we will save on the taxi from the airport we can use to help pay for the extra on the hotel.
That's settled then. And should we bother with breakfast? I've been told that breakfast specials from the delis in New York are so cheap anyway.
Yes, you're right. We'll book without breakfast and that will save some money as well. It'll be nice to eat in different places too.
Before the conversation continues, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen carefully and answer questions 6 to 10.
So, now we come to what we want to do in New York.
I was talking to James and he said that when he went last year with his wife, they had an excellent boat tour around Manhattan Island. It was about 3 hours long and they got a really good orientation. There's a commentary by someone on the boat and James said it's really interesting and funny. How about that for the first morning?
That sounds great. So, that's the morning. How about in the afternoon we go into Greenwich Village and walk around the stores there? If we feel like some more shopping later, we can go down to Fifth Avenue and check out the really famous stores like Tiffany's and Bloomingdale's.
That sounds nice. We could finish the afternoon by going up the Empire State Building.
Good idea. For dinner we could go to Little Italy or Chinatown. I've heard so much about those places.
I'm not so keen on Chinese food, but Italian sounds great.
So, that's day one settled. On day 2, I'd like to see the modern art in the Metropolitan Museum. Would you like to do that?
Not really, but why don't you do that and I'll go to the zoo in Central Park. I've always wanted to go there and I know that you don't like zoos. Afterwards we can meet up and walk through the park a little and have lunch.
That sounds good. After that, would you like to take the ferry out to Staten Island in the afternoon?
Yes, I'd like that. We could have dinner out there as well and take an evening ferry home.
That just leaves day 3, the last day then. What would you like to do first?
Well, we will have been rushing around all the other days. Why don't we just go and have a leisurely breakfast down by the water somewhere? How about down near the UN building on the East River? We can just eat, relax, and read a paper or something. You know, just soak up the atmosphere.
That's a good idea. It will be nice to relax. And shall we just leave the afternoon free for now and see what happens? There's bound to be something going on, and we can always go to the tourism office and get some recommendations.
In the evening, though, I did have something I'd like to do. I've checked and the New York Mets have a baseball game that night. I'd love to see a baseball game. Would you like that?
Sure, that sounds fun. We can just have hot dogs and hamburgers for dinner at the game.
And then the next morning, we have to be at Grand Central Station at 9 a.m. for our train to Boston.
That is the end of part 1. You will now have half a minute to check your answers. Part 2.
You will hear a man giving an introductory talk about Wesley Town's Youth Soccer Club. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen carefully to the introductory talk and answer questions 11 to 15.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this information morning for Wesley Town's Youth Soccer Club. Today we'll try and give you as much information as we can about it. We will then have a question and answer session to deal with anything further you'd like to know about. So, we run 3 teams for boys and girls in different age groups. The youngest age groups we run here are for 12 to 13-year-olds. This group we call the Kestrels. The next group, known as the Hawks, are for 14 to 15-year-olds. Finally, we have the group for 16 to 17-year-olds, and they are known as the Eagles. In order to assess a child's age, we look at the age on the 1st of September of the year preceding the start of training. If your child is younger than these age groups, then we have an associate soccer club known as the Foxes, and I can tell you later how to get in touch with them. Once a boy or girl reaches 18, they usually join one of the many local adult clubs. Sometimes, children join these older clubs at a younger age, but you will have to sort out the particular insurance issues if this happens. In the Kestrels, girls and boys train and play together. But for the Hawks and the Eagles, the children are separated as their physical strength and size becomes more apparent then. The children need to have appropriate footwear and soccer clothing. Please make sure that they all have warmer clothes to wear in case the weather is cold or if we have to break for bad weather. So, now, let me tell you about our schedules. We train every Tuesday evening for the Kestrels and the boys in the Hawks and the Eagles. On Wednesdays, we train the girls in the Hawks and the Eagles. Sessions start from the first Tuesday or Wednesday in September through the last Tuesday or Wednesday in April. The training sessions start at 5:30 p.m. and last for an hour and a half. Children may turn up for as many or as few training sessions as they like, but of course, they will improve more quickly the more often they attend. We focus on all skills of soccer, fitness, and general athleticism, and every training, there's a short game when the kids can put their skills to use. We always start with warm-ups and finish with stretching at every training. At weekends, we have matches. These are on Saturday mornings and always start at 10 a.m. All matches are traditional with 2 halves. The matches of the Kestrels are 35 minutes each way, the Hawks matches last for 40 minutes each way, and the Eagles matches play full adult time, 45 minutes each way. We encourage all players to change before and after the game at the club's facilities or the away venue's facilities, as we believe this helps to foster team spirit.
You now have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen to the rest of the introductory talk and answer questions 16 to 20.
Now you will want to know how much everything is going to cost. Our season runs from September to April. The whole season's training costs $150 if paid in one go at the start of the season. However, you can pay $25 monthly at the start of each training month. There is a difference, therefore, of $50 if you pay at the start of the season. All payments to the club must be done by bank transfer. The fees also include health and accident insurance during your child's time practicing or playing matches with us, at home or away matches. The insurance does not cover travel to and from soccer. Match fees are extra. Home and away matches cost $5, but if we have to hire a bus to take the team together to a match further afield, then you will need to pay your share of these transport costs. Details of which children picked to play for the team will be given out every Wednesday before the match weekend, and the directions to the venue, along with any other necessary travel costs, will be outlined then. All details will also appear on the club website. One important thing that we insist on is the signing of a contract by the children and the parents. This gives the expectations of behavior for the players and the parents watching. Parents are, of course, extremely welcome to watch training sessions and to come to matches, but we insist that parents be models to our many children, and we do not accept any inappropriate behavior towards our players, opposition teams and staff, and the match officials. Finally, we all know that many kids are mad about soccer, but we recognize that schoolwork should come first. Therefore, we would like to work closely with you, the parents, so that we know that each child's homework and schoolwork is going well, and that academics do not suffer because of too much soccer. Therefore, if there is a problem, please keep in contact with your child's age group coach by email, so that he or she can include or exclude the child from match selections. If used properly, our club can be a useful way of encouraging your child to do his or her homework. Of course, all the information I have outlined to you is on our club website, along with a wealth of other information. So, let's begin the questions and answers.
That is the end of part 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Part 3.
You will hear 4 students discussing their work placements in their business course. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Hi, Peter. Hi, Tom. Come over here and sit with Cassie and me.
Thanks. How are you guys?
We're good. We're just discussing our work placements. Have you got yours yet, Peter?
Yes, it was confirmed this morning.
What do you mean work placements?
You know, Susan, Peter, and I are all doing a BA in advertising.
Yes.
Well, we have a sandwich course. We do 2 years at university studying, and then there's 1 year working in industry, and then we have a final year at university. We all start our work placements in 2 months, and we have all just been given the confirmation of where we will be working.
Do you find the placement or does the uni?
It can be both. We have the opportunity to organize our own, but if we can't, the uni will find a placement for us.
So, Peter, what will you be doing? Did you get that placement in the design firm in South London that you were hoping for?
I was holding out for it as long as I could, but they took too long to confirm it. Because of that, the uni went with my second choice.
Was that the placement in Bournemouth at the finance company?
That was my third choice. My second choice was in Birmingham in a textiles manufacturing plant. How about you, Cassie?
I'm really excited, as I've got a placement in Paris.
Wow, really?
Yes, it's right downtown. They manufacture furniture, and I'll be responsible for designing a new campaign for a whole new set of products they're launching.
All on your own?
Well, I'll be part of a team, but that's better as I can learn so much. The firm also said they're interested in my English skills, as a lot of the products will be heading for the UK market eventually.
What about you, Susan?
I'm going to be working in a paper factory in Liverpool.
That's not what you wanted. I thought you had a London placement lined up.
I did, but I met a student who was there last year, and she said they did not give her much opportunity to do meaningful work. I wanted to push myself, so I turned them down.
I'm not surprised you turned them down then. Paper doesn't sound so interesting, though.
It doesn't, does it? But Professor Robinson knows the woman who is the director of advertising there, and he says I will learn loads.
You now have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen to the rest of the discussion and answer questions 26 to 30.
So, Cassie, tell us all about Paris.
Well, I start pretty much at the end of the semester. I was hoping to negotiate beginning at the start of September, but they said they wanted me 2 or 3 months earlier than that at least. Obviously, we're still at college in June, so early July it'll have to be.
Can't you go in August? We were supposed to go to Spain together in July.
I'm afraid not. You can come and visit me in Paris instead, though.
Where will you live?
I've got some options. I have an old aunt who lives in the Paris suburbs. She's happy to put me up. That will be free, but it might curtail my evening activities a little.
I bet it will.
I can rent a flat, too. The company has put me in touch with some estate agents there, and I have the details of loads of flats. There are quite a few near where I'll be working, but it's just so pricey.
Well, Paris is expensive.
What about a flat share?
That's possible, too. But obviously you have less privacy.
That's quite a choice you'll have to make.
I know. I think I've decided that the most economical choice will win, though. I've not much choice in my budget.
How hard will you have to work?
Oh, they will get their money's worth, it seems. I was hoping that it wouldn't be full-time, so I could get to see Paris and the surrounding areas, but it looks like it will be Monday to Friday from 9 to 5 or 8 to 4. Occasionally, if there's a big project on, then I was told that many people turn up for a full day on Saturday, and that will be expected of me when necessary, too.
So, what kind of work will you be doing for this furniture company?
Well, as I said, they will be launching a whole new range of products. They've designed a range of home furniture, and I'll be working on the advertising. They've even sent me some pictures so I can get working and show them what I can do.
What pictures have they sent?
There are 2. The first is a coffee table.
And you have to write marketing on it.
Well, they want a couple of examples of what I can do. The coffee table is pretty standard. You know, rectangular, 4 legs and a glass top. It's pretty contemporary and fashionable.
What's the second picture?
The second one is a dining chair. It's a bit more traditional, with a wooden frame, no armrests, and a soft, comfortable cushion. Both the pictures are fairly straightforward, but they want some examples of my work so they can give me advice before I start.
That is the end of part 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Part 4.
You will hear part of a lecture on earth sciences. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this Earth Sciences lecture. Today, we are going to look at haboobs. These are giant dust storms, which are sometimes close to 2 kilometers high and 160 kilometers wide. Haboobs occur in arid regions throughout the world, particularly in the Sahara Desert, the Arabian Peninsula, parts of the US, and the deserts of Central Australia, where these dust clouds may reach several kilometers in height and leave a foot-thick blanket of sand covering everything in their paths. In the Sahara, there are two types of the haboob. In the south, a strong and hot version occurs, creating a common sandstorm. In the north, the haboob is colder and causes fewer sandstorms than in the south. Haboobs have many effects on the environments where they occur. A major effect is that pollution levels skyrocket during these dust storms and exacerbate breathing problems for people with asthma and other similar conditions, causing hospitals to be overwhelmed with people, many of them holidaymakers. Many police sources have reported how Arizona was affected last summer as haboobs knocked out electricity and created traffic jams. Wind conditions made some trees fall onto cars and one elementary school bus, though thankfully there were no casualties. Due to the obvious dangers, many planes had to be grounded during times when there was any threat at all of a haboob taking place. A haboob is an intense dust storm. The word haboob comes from the Arabic word hab, meaning wind. The haboob is a wall of dust created by a microburst or downburst, more commonly the former. A microburst is a small, very intense downdraft that descends to the ground, resulting in a strong wind divergence. Microbursts are capable of producing winds of more than 100 miles per hour, causing significant damage. The lifespan of a microburst is around 5 to 15 minutes. The air force downward is pushed forward by the front of a thunderstorm cell, dragging dust and debris with it as it travels across the terrain. When rain falls below the cloud base or is mixed with dry air, it begins to evaporate, and this evaporation process cools the air. The cool air descends and accelerates as it approaches the ground. When the cool air approaches the ground, it spreads out in all directions, and this divergence of the wind is the signature of the microburst. In humid climates, microbursts can also generate from heavy precipitation. The problem, according to meteorological experts, is that rising temperatures contribute directly and indirectly to there being more dust in the air. Persistent droughts, increasingly violent and variable weather patterns, urban and suburban development, and even off-road recreational vehicle usage on farmland can compound the problem. Texas is experiencing one of the most extreme droughts in recent history, with 90% of the state in the most extreme level of drought. Arizona, California, Colorado, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Utah, and other states are also experiencing drought conditions. The government has tried to conserve water by building dams, but this has not had a positive effect yet. The worry is that this might be just the start of a trend, as reported in a recent issue of the journal Earth. Researchers say that over the next couple of decades, the American West will transition to an environment that may make the 1930s Dust Bowl seem mild and brief. Finally, meteorologists have said that the US experienced a typical number of dust storms last year, but what set last season apart from others was the size and power of 3 of the storms. Variety in the dust storms is normal, but there does not seem to be a single causative factor for why they seem to be stronger last year. Weather experts said such massive dust storms only happen in Arizona, Africa's Sahara Desert, and parts of the Middle East because of extremely hot and dry conditions and the large amounts of sand.
That is the end of part 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
That is the end of the listening test. You now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the listening answer sheet.